we've reached the point where Christianity is officially a trend. I was talking to my wife the other day, and I was telling her about a conversation I had with some family members about the Bible. And I was like, a little frustrated with the lack of understanding of the Bible when it came to what they were saying. And she was like, well, babe, you have to understand, Christianity is trendy now. And I was like, ooh. Like, oh, please don't stop there. Please elaborate, because I'm in agreement with you, but please, continue. She was like, well, check it. Everywhere I go, when I'm around Christians, the new Christians, and when I say new Christians, because there's a big spiritual awakening that's taking place, the new Christians are from 2023 to now. I would consider them to be newer Christians, and especially that later 2023, 2024 for sure. That was a very trendy year in Christianity. She's like, they're always talking about, oh, so-and-so's a witch. Oh, they're a witch this, or they're a witch that. And I'm like, yeah, they do that. It's very trendy to go to church right now. It's very trendy to be, listening to Christian music right now. Another one that I thought of was, I never really heard of monitoring spirits until the last few years. Maybe it's because I live under a rock, but when I came in, wasn't anybody saying anything about monitoring spirits. Sure, that's, sure, it's a particular spirit that exists. There's many spirits that exist, but it's in particular monitoring spirits. I hear that a lot. I've heard it a lot these past few years. I don't know if it's because it's my age group, 20s, late 20s, post-college, when you want to get your life together type age group, that's why it's, a trendy thing or whatever. But, when I came in, it seemed like it was just me, and I was with all the old people reading the scriptures. I was going at pastors, preachers, and deacons, when I, my first year in, because I'm like, what you're saying does not align with the word, and it was not trendy, and it was very much so a just me thing. And so I don't have any issue for real with the newer Christians. It's not an issue at all. It's just recognizing that this is a trend, but I need them to understand that this walk does get ugly. If you've come in, I'm sure you're saying okay, you're going to go through tribulation. You're going to go through some sort of fire. Satan does not like the fact that you've given your life back over to God. However, I went through COVID. If you weren't a believer going through COVID, if you weren't a believer going through January 6th, when they raided that White House and you were like, hey, it might be cracking off right now, then, it's kind of like, okay, you haven't really experienced what it could look like when everything really hits the fan, when you really have to stand on your faith, Just like I wasn't a believer at the time of 9/11, but there were some believers that were, believers at the time of 9/11 that tell me, they were like, oh no, when 9/11 hit, we thought it was revelation. We thought it was time to turn up, that we were going to have to flee to the wilderness, and that yada, yada, yada. It was about to get bad. That's what we thought, And so I just say all that just to say, it's very trendy right now, and almost to the point of it being a little cringe, only because of the fact that there's not enough actual Bible study to understand what it means to be a true believer in the Most High God. It's cringe because when I talk to these believers and I say, no, it is important to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, they have no idea of what I'm talking about. And this is stuff that they're supposed to be getting fed from their pastors and preachers and their shepherds. they have one high priest. We all have one high priest, and that is Jesus Christ, Yahushua Mashiach. And he sent down the Holy Spirit to be our guide, to be our helper. And so if you're a believer that came in from 2023 to 2026, please don't take any offense to what I'm saying. If you're following the laws, statutes, and commandments, if you're doing, like, you're on the right path, you're on that ancient path that he's talking about. But if you are a believer that's coming in and you're still, you still don't know what sin is, you still don't know that sin is the transgression of the law, you still don't know how to live your life, and it's been 3 years, 2 years since you've been in this walk, and nobody has told you the fact that, hey, Jesus kept all the commandments. He kept all the laws, statutes, and commandments that the Most High, the Father, laid out in the Torah. And if you say that you want to be Christ-like, then you're supposed to be like him. If nobody's told you that, then you're a part of the trend. You're a part of this new age Christianity that's cute right now. It's bubbly, it's fun, it's cute, and when this thing really hits off, and you see how hot this thing's really about to get, and when you see those 4 horsemen roll out, and you see a fourth of the earth killed, when the Euphrates River really does dry up, and those 4 angels really do come out, and it's going to get real bad. And if nobody is telling you that you're going to be here during these times, then you're not prepared. And you're just along with the trend. And when this shit gets hot, you're not gonna know where to go, because you don't have anything to fall back on, because you don't really truly have the faith that's needed to last and to stand in this time of tribulation. So that's not to be afraid. God has us all. It says in Revelation 12:11 that they overcame the beast through the blood of the Lamb and from the word of his testimony, and they love not their lives even unto death. My brothers, they're prepared. We're prepared. If at any time we have to lay this life down, we know. Because one thing we're not going to do is we're not going to get the mark of the beast. That's a first-class ticket to the lake of fire. We're not going to worship the image of the beast. We're not going to do these things. So that's what I'm here to say today is you have to do a gut check. Really check and see, are you in this thing because it's cute right now, or are you in this thing because, and if it come time to really crash out, are you really ready to crash out? Because me and my homies, we a holy hit squad. We Delta Force. If it comes time to it and we have to lay our lives down, then so be it. All praise the Most High Yah. Daniel 3. I know that he's going to get me out of this fire, but if he doesn't, we still not going to worship you. We still not going to bend the knee to you. So what? What's up? That's it, baby. All praise the Most High Yah.